the school system is a system that has been around decades now, and it's not exactly the most liked system out there. This is very justified due to the problems faced in it. Getting students in debt, people working dead-end jobs, and countless of young adults feeling like they wasted their lives. But with all of this, a couple of big questions are raised. What went wrong? Was the plan always to trap us? Will it ever change? Today I'll try to answer as much of those questions as possible, and if you like content like this, hit the like button and subscribe for more. Schools are educational institutions designed to provide learning spaces and learning environments for teaching students under the teacher's direction, which you probably already knew. Most countries have systems of formal education, which at times could be compulsory depending on the country. School starts very early in a child's life and could venture into adulthood. Basically, the premise of this system is to educate and skill individuals with the skill to read, write, and articulate proper sentences with no error. On the surface, it's a good idea, and it helps everyone become smart enough to communicate as well as understand each other quite well. School is where students get to learn more about themselves. To a certain extent, it helps us learn more about ourselves and what we want to do in future. You couldn't really understand what I'm saying or how to operate your phone without school. I wouldn't be able to write the script for this video, edit it, or even do the voiceover without it, so there's a lot of beauty from this system. It sure does have some good intentions in the sense that it guides us towards a good future. It helped us advance so far, and we have to acknowledge that. The school system does fail at showing some aspects of the real world because it tells you what to do, how to do it, when to do it, and sometimes who to do it with. This is obviously not the case with life as we know it because we have to figure most stuff out. Doing things this way does suppress creativity whilst taking out the natural human error that may take place in life. School also has a tendency to praise girls way more than boys, and this often breeds weaker, more timid boys. You aren't allowed to be loud, funny, or even different in school. You have to stay within a certain line, and it's funny how they encourage you to think outside the box whilst they make continuous attempts to box you in. Another failed concept in school is using grades to measure intelligence, which praises some people instead of being for everyone, but it started out good, right? Let's dive into what went wrong here. Decades ago, the education system was designed to meet the changing needs of the Industrial Revolution. What was once a time of growth changed over time, and with all the other changes to the world, it's clear that this system cannot meet the current needs of society. School is a system that lacks any form of innovation whatsoever. They do things today how they did things possibly hundreds of years ago. If the system that teaches us for a big part of our lives subliminally tells us not to change a thing in how we act and progress as a society, then is this system really teaching us? We use chairs and desks with old, reused textbooks and whiteboards just like we did decades ago. We are graded, asked to do assignments we don't care about, and are judged only in one area of intelligence just like the 80s. There is also a huge decline in school safety with a rise in high-profile mass shootings in schools, but this is most common in American schools. This doesn't mean this isn't a concerning thing, and it raises a debate about school safety overall. Its lack of innovation and reluctance to change actually causes these concerns to be raised. Kids aren't safe in schools, and they are exposed to alarming things even within classrooms. With the rise of pride flags being put in school settings, it sexualizes kids, and it's not really something they're ready for yet. Schools also have big challenges with technology. As we can all admit, technology is one of the most prominent things nowadays, and everyone is growing up using technology. Realistically, technology improves most parts of our lives, and it's no surprise that that also applies to education. The amount of cheaper than college courses you can find online that can make you just as much money than a degree that you can find online is alarming. With technology and the internet, you can not only learn about things you are passionate about, but you may not pay a penny for that. It's crazy that schools aren't really noticing this or even trying to go digital. They assume technology is a distraction, but to be honest, anything that provides a great deal of power has a detriment to it, and technology is one of those things. we'd all agree that the pen and paper method is outdated and needs to be changed in schools. From all of this you can see a clear theme here. Schools stick to a system that's outdated and washed up now. Their lack of innovation or change leads to school being a dreadful thing that feels like it should be abandoned. This makes it unnecessarily boring and one-sided. Now, was the plan always to trap us? Was the greater plan for those behind the school system to make students learn in an outdated and ineffective way? Well, to answer that, we'll have to get to the reason as to why school started. It basically boils down to people noticing that as opposed to every family being individually responsible for education, it would be way more efficient for a small group of adults to teach a larger group of children. It's a logical way to provide everyone with the same standards for education and knowledge, so school began as a way to teach everyone in an efficient way. It kept developing and it was best suited for the Industrial Revolution, so no, it wasn't really to trap us. In fact, it helped so many people get jobs and have a sustainable source of income, since in the Industrial Revolution there was a high demand for all of these labor-intensive jobs. The times just kept changing and school never did, which leads people to think the world still works the way it did before. It makes us believe that the old formula, which was go to school, get a job, get married, and have kids, still works today. People blindly follow this method and go to school for jobs that may have thrived decades ago, so school deceived us in that way. It may not have planned to trap us into debt and unwanted jobs, but it sure did, with the outstanding federal loan balance being $1.635 trillion and accounts for 92.4% all student loan debt. This basically means student loans contributes the most of outstanding loans, and these are probably people who have underpaying jobs or just people who don't know what to do with their degrees. It's alarming how the state allows 18-year-olds who have no idea of what direction to take in their lives to take out loans without any convincing proof they'll pay that loan back. It's all dark and depressing to know all of this, but is there hope? Will the school system change? Although most evidence suggests it won't, there are some tiny signs that this system can turn around and improve. We can take the Finland school system for example, because teachers in Finland spend way fewer hours at school each day and spend less time in the classroom than teachers in other places in the world. Teachers in Finland use the extra time to build curriculums and assess their students. The children in these schools spend more time playing outside, enjoying their childhood all throughout the year. Students have the least amount of work to do outside of school, and they spend half an hour a night working on school stuff. This is why Finland is now considered to be the most successful education system. We also have the rise of digital education, and even though this isn't from the school system, it might just inspire schools to follow suit and change their teaching methods. Either that or school itself becomes obsolete and we learn digitally. This is also a possibility, since most things have gone digital now, so I wouldn't rule it out yet. I think school began positively. It had good intentions, and it's a concept that has good ground, and the proof of that is in how much it's changed everything. It allowed us to have the Industrial Revolution, create technology, and even understand each other better. That being said, it misled a lot of people and caused a crisis for people in debt who regret going to college and taking their education further. My take on college is, don't go if you don't know what you want to do. Find out if what you want to do fully requires college, and if it can't be learned outside of school. If your future is with college, then by all means you can go. It can lead you to greatness. What do you think though? Do you think the school system should change, or is it really outdated?
Oh, look, it's
Let me know in the comments. Like the video, subscribe, and stay frosty.